Hello everybody and welcome to Griffith University's engineering webinar. My name is Joe Groth from the student recruitment team, and today I'm joined by a number of our academic staff and students, including our deputy head of school and our head of school for engineering, to discuss some of the reasons why our students choose to study engineering here at Griffith. Before we get into anything though, I would like to, of course, acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands on which we're currently meeting and pay my respects to elders within the community, past, present and emerging, and also extend that same welcome and respect to any Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander students we may have watching this webinar today. So let's start off with a few introductions. We've got a number of different panelists today who will be sharing their experiences of what it's like to be at Griffith, what it's like to work at Griffith, and of course, what it's like to study engineering at Griffith University. So let's kick things off. Rosalind, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Joe. Thank you. Yes, it's my pleasure to be head of the School of Engineering and Built Environment here at Griffith University. I've got a background in the energy sector, working on renewable energy, and really enjoy my role at Griffith, overseeing a range of wonderful disciplines and the connections between them. We have both engineering, architecture, planning, industrial design and aviation all in the same school. So there's lots of fun connections between them. I'm in an electrical engineering lab on our Gold Coast campus. In this lab, students use industry standard gear to look at what it takes to bring more renewable energy into our power grid.
Thank you, Rosalind. How about you, Andrew? Tell us a little bit about your role here at Griffith.
Hi everybody, I'm Andrew. I'm the Deputy Head of School of Learning and Teaching in the School of Engineering and Built Environment. I've been here for quite a long time now. I've been at Griffith for 17 years and I've kind of found a home here. I've worked and studied at various other universities around the world, and Griffith is by far my favourite place to work. My role within the school is to manage all the learning and teaching. So to make sure that we offer the programs that are most relevant to industry, most relevant to students, and to meet the needs of all our prospective students. I also manage the student experience here to make sure that all our students are getting a quality education, but also having a good time here. I'm here in the Flight Procedures Laboratory, also in N79. This is a one-of-a-kind facility where we have 40 flight simulation workstations here. Most airlines only have a few flight simulators. Here we have 40. This allows our aviation graduates to graduate with hundreds of hours of simulation time, as opposed to maybe 5 or 10 in most aviation programs. You might be able to see behind me all the stations here. They're also virtual reality capable, so that our students can get a truly immersive experience.
Thanks, Andrew. Yes, we are very fortunate today to be joined by two of our senior staff within the space, who will definitely be able to share some of their experiences around Griffith, and particularly for Rosalind, only recently coming in to start working here at Griffith, some of the differences that she might have seen in comparison to her previous experiences. Now, as I mentioned, we're also joined by two of our current students as well. I'll ask you to introduce yourself, Joseph.
Hi, my name's Joseph and I'm studying at Griffith University. I'm currently in my third year, majoring in mechanical engineering. I have a strong passion for motorsports and I've thoroughly enjoyed my time at Griffith University. I'm located in the Griffith Racing Team lab at the Gold Coast campus. This lab is home to not only a range of engineering students, but all students across the university. This lab is used for the design and building of a Formula Student race car, and it gives a great platform to do this.
Thank you, Joseph. And how about you, Lillian? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Lillian and I am a final and 6th year student of the Electronics Engineering and Physics under Bachelor of Science degree. I study at the Nathan campus and this is my final year. I'm very excited to graduate. So where I am, I'm in level 4 of N79, which is the Mechanical Engineering Lab. And behind me, I'm not sure if you can see it, we have the SCADA display, which is a final year Electronics Engineering elective.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Lillian. Now, the first topic that I wanted to address in our webinar today was why should you choose to study engineering at Griffith University? And I think there's no better person to ask than our head of school, Rosalind. You've only just joined Griffith recently at the back end of last year. What have you seen that's been a little bit different about your experiences so far? And how do you see the future of Griffith?
Thanks, Joe. So what excites me about Griffith's programs, there's a couple of things. First of all, it's the really close relationship the school has with industry, and that relationship is integral to all of the engineering degrees. So the team here assist every single engineering student to get an industry placement as part of work integrated learning in their engineering degree. And that to me is something that really distinguishes the Griffith program from other experiences. I was also truly struck, even from the moment I interviewed for this job, just how much our staff here at Griffith really care about our students. We have staff who get to know our students. We have relatively small class sizes. So anyone who comes here will not be just a number on a spreadsheet. You will be an individual in a cohort that gets to know our staff.
And how about for you, Andrew? You said you've been working at Griffith for 17 years now, especially in your role as a placement manager, specifically with what Rosalind was saying about the difference there. How do you see that as really contributing to a student's overall educational experience?
Thanks, Joe. The WIL experience that our students undertake is second to none in the world, I believe. We were one of the first universities in Australia. We were the first university in Australia to have a full industry placement in the final year of an engineering degree, and we are still leading Australia in the number of students we place every year in industry. But it's not just the final year. The entire practical side of our degree starts in year one. All of our courses throughout the programs have hands-on activities that build the necessary skills that students need, not just to understand the engineering content, but to put those skills into practice and then to practice those, put those skills to work in the workforce. The WIL experience at the very end of their degree is the capstone of that, and it's obvious when you see the students go out into the workforce, then come back again, what a difference that makes, both to their education, to give them the confidence that they can use their engineering skills, and to give them extra skills that they'll need in the workplace. Things like communication and teamwork and professional behaviour and ethics and all those things that aren't necessarily taught in a lot of engineering programs, but we make sure are taught here.
Thanks, Andrew. Great to hear how those practical experiences are really integrated into the fabric of the degree to really extend that student experience out. Speaking of students, let's have a chat to some of our students. Now, Joseph, why did you specifically choose to study at Griffith?
I chose to study at Griffith because I've heard from numerous sources about the strong creativity base that is promoted at Griffith University. And I believe allowing students to explore their creative freedom in terms of engineering allows them to gain a lot of necessary skills that are needed in the industry.
And Lillian, was that also a factor in your decision-making process around where to study?
So what Joseph said certainly did contribute to why I chose to attend Griffith. From my family's experience, family members attending Griffith University, I did hear that compared to maybe other Brisbane universities, Griffith is a young, progressive university that really focuses on practical teaching versus theoretical, or at least in my experience now, I found it has a good balance. And secondly, logistically, I found that Griffith was more accessible to me. I didn't necessarily want to spend an hour and a half on public transport per day just before I actually got to study. So those were my reasons.
Now, Lillian, I'll just stay with you there because I understand that you're part of a number of different clubs and societies that are available for students to join at Griffith. Have these just been for fun, or have they also contributed to your overall academic learning experiences?
Good question. The main club that I've been involved in during my studies has been Women in Engineering, which is available at both the Nathan and the Gold Coast. But I definitely got into the club because I wanted to get to know other female engineering students, which has both helped me open up personally and also connect more with engineering disciplines.
And how about for you, Joseph? I understand that you're part of the Griffith racing team. How has that contributed to your overall student experience so far?
The Griffith racing team has been an absolutely great experience while studying at university. It's allowed me to explore my design creativity. It's allowed me to work with fellow engineers, which has allowed me to learn more about how it is to work in the industry. And I think it's a great experience for students to learn and grow. So behind me, I have the Griffith racing team vehicle for 2021. And 2022. So this is the first electric vehicle that has ever been produced from Griffith University. And I'm looking really forward to racing this vehicle at the end of the year against other universities around Australia.
Yes, great to hear that that student experience is probably going to be something that will put you in good favour when thinking about graduate positions when moving outside after you've finished off your studies as well, Joseph? Speaking of graduate positions and the job side of things, because this is obviously something that's so important to take into consideration, question for you, Andrew. Where do our graduates land jobs, and how does the experience prepare them to best make that transition?
It's a great question. The answer to that is pretty much everywhere. We have graduates in very, very large companies that we partner with through their IAP and other experiences, companies like KPMG and ARUP and so on. But we also have a lot of graduates that end up in local businesses and smaller engineering firms and everything in between. We have specialty majors in renewable energy and energy systems, which makes our graduates far better placed to move into some of the new exciting developments in the renewable energy area. That's one particular area we're quite strong in. Other than that, anywhere you can imagine, in Brisbane, within Australia, around the world, our graduates have been there. We've had some of our graduates go on to do postgraduate study at Cambridge and Oxford University. We've had graduates end up in the United States working for various companies over there, but yeah, everywhere.
Andrew, can you tell us a little bit about some of the other majors that we also offer for students as well?
Absolutely. We offer the big three engineering majors here, which is civil, mechanical and electrical. But as well as that, we have some more specialised majors. As I said before, we have a major in energy systems at Nathan campus. We have a new major in renewable energy at the Gold Coast campus. We have mechatronic engineering. And one of the ones we're most proud of is our environmental engineering major. We were the first university in Australia, once again, to have environmental engineering, and it's one of our flagship programs here at Griffith. We also have a dedicated software engineering major and a major in UAV, which focuses on the design, manufacture and piloting of drones.
I'll just stay with you there, Andrew. We've been talking about majors or the specific area of study that we'd be focusing on as a student. Of course, that can be sometimes a bit of a difficult decision to make when looking at all of the wonderful options that are there for students to choose from. Can you tell us a little bit about the foundational first year aspect of engineering? Yeah,
so when our students come into engineering at Griffith, their first trimester is the same for everybody. We have what's called a foundation first year. Now, not the entire year is not common. We have 6 out of 8 courses in the first year are common. So their first trimester is completely common. In the second trimester, they can choose to specialise into one of 2 or 3 different pathways. They can focus on the electrical pathway, mechanical or civil. Once they finish first year, then it's time to pick a major, and then their paths will diverge a little more. So, and then when you get into 3rd and 4th year, you can specialise even more by choosing electives in the specific field of study that you're most interested in. So as you go through your degree, you go from being very general in first year to very, very specific at the end. And of course, the capstone of the entire program is that industry experience in final year, when you'll pick not just a field that you're interested in, but a particular company you're interested in working for and go out and do a project with them. I should also point out, though, that if you change your mind after maybe a year or 18 months, you still can continue in the program. You possibly may need to repeat one course, but often with the free choice electives you have available, you won't lose any time in your program. So there is still some flexibility after a year or 2.
Thanks, Andrew. Great to know that as a student, we have the flexibility to make an informed decision about where we want to specialise in our studies before making that commitment, while still having a little bit of wiggle room over the course of the degree to really round out that student experience. Question for you, Rosalind. We talk a lot about being an engineer from day one. Can you talk a little bit about what that means and how that might impact upon the experience?
Engineer from day one is about using engineering skills and knowledge literally from day one. It's about unleashing that creativity in labs and workshops and classes run through our School of Engineering. So you're going to work on problems inspired by real world engineering and really get that understanding and that love of engineering right from the beginning.
Thank you, Rosalind. Now, I understand that we also offer a number of other double degrees where students can choose to put 2 degrees together. Rosalind, can you tell us a little bit about how double degrees work with engineering?
Double degrees with engineering are a great option. You get 2 degrees integrated together through your program. So you typically complete the 2 degrees in a shorter amount of time and you integrate the learning between them. So we offer double degree combinations with aviation at our Nathan campus, for example. where you can learn mechanical and electrical engineering, along with learning the science of aviation itself in terms of the track you might go on to learn to fly. You can double up your engineering degree with business if you're interested in commerce, entrepreneurship, management. There's a range of sort of IT related options where you can team up an engineering degree with IT, data science, computer science here on the Gold Coast. And those help you unleash the power of information technology and data and dovetail beautifully with engineering expertise. For creative folks, you could double up an engineering degree with industrial design here on our Gold Coast campus. So that's great for somebody who has perhaps a more artistic bent and really wants to combine that with the how things are made as well as the design aspect. And then you can also team up an engineering degree and a science degree like Lillian has.
As a double degree student who took the engineering degree portion of it largely first, in the first half, I was happily surprised to see that there are many other people doing double degrees with engineering, particularly in aviation science at Nathan. The reason why I chose my double degree with science was because in high school, in grade 12, I found that I enjoyed engineering and physics as separate subjects. And when it came to applying to university, I couldn't just choose one, so I chose both. And after enrolling in university, I found that decision really helps me enrich my skills and who I can be as a graduate. I wanted to get a bit more of a competitive edge, and I think that I have achieved that.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Lillian. Now, I wanted to talk about scholarships because at Griffith, we have over 600 different scholarships for all different types of students from all different types of backgrounds. And I understand that our two student representatives in Joseph and Lillian actually have come into Griffith under the same scholarship. So I'll stay with you, Lillian. Can you tell us a little bit about your scholarship and what the application process was like?
Sure. So the scholarship that I received was the Sir Samuel Griffith Scholarship for the amount of $24,000 over 4 years. And what that meant for me was stressing less about having a job while I was studying, particularly in my transition to uni in first year. And I applied for the scholarship by looking at the Griffith Scholarships page online. This was around the time that I was doing my grade 12 QTAC applications. And I saw that I fit the criteria for that particular scholarship. And since I had an OP3, I wasn't actually sure that I would get it since the cutoff was a 1 to 2. But I was very fortunate to get in, and it felt like the university believed in me and I guess started like a good working relationship.
Yes, it's wonderful to hear that that scholarship has made a significant difference in your overall experiences at Griffith so far. How about you, Joseph? What were your experiences like, and how has the scholarship changed your approach to study?
It was a fairly easy experience to apply for this scholarship. I just had to go online to the Griffith website and enter some of my details. And then what it did is it applied for me for the relevant scholarships that it believed that I applied to based on this information. And this scholarship has really allowed me just to focus on my studies, study full time, and complete the degree in 4 years. And it really just shows that Griffith believes in its students and wants to support them to do the best that they can.
And Rosalind, as a new staff member, as a new head of school for engineering particularly, how do you find that the scholarships compare in comparison to other universities?
I think one thing that Griffith does really well is making scholarships very accessible to students. The application is quick, it's easy, it's one-stop shopping. And the other thing that I think is amazing about who Griffith are is the staff giving program. So every paycheck, I make a donation to the scholarship program, and many of us on staff, you will see that reflected on the lanyards we have with our keys to say we are here giving financially to support our students.
Thanks, Rosalind. Now, scholarships are just one aspect of the student support packages that are available, and that's something that we really pride ourselves on at Griffith, is providing multiple layers of student support over the course of the degree. Andrew, can you have a little bit of a chat to us about some of the different student support options that are available for students and how they can really make a difference over the course of a degree?
Thanks, Joe. That's a really good question. Griffith as a university takes in as students a lot of students that probably wouldn't be considered traditional university students. That is, students from low SES backgrounds, students that are first in family. Our percentage of first in family is one of the highest in Australia. So we do get students coming into the university and in the School of Engineering as well that don't have a lot of experience with the university system, and we have a lot of support systems in place for that. Now there are many different types of support we offer. One of the biggest ones is the student mentors. So we have a group of second, third and fourth year students who volunteer to mentor the first year students that come in. We also have extra study options for these students, for example, PASS, which gives the students an extra opportunity to undertake study with their peers and a leader to help them perform better academically. We have a number of systems in place to identify students who perhaps are struggling. Now that can be as simple as identifying students that haven't submitted their first assessment item for a particular course. They are then contacted to make sure that they're on track and to make sure that if they need any help, they're getting it. Most of our staff have an open door policy in the school. So if any students are struggling with their academic material or they're struggling with other things outside of the coursework, they can always knock on someone's door and get help. The other thing we have, especially for first year students in the School of Engineering, are our first year coordinators. These people operate on two different levels. The first thing they do is they make sure that the courses the first year students are doing are well managed. They make sure that the assessment is appropriate, that the students are all getting the academic support they need. But they also act as another mentor to the first year students in engineering to get them over that first 6 months to a year of integrating themselves into university life, which is it's been shown to be the hardest part of study. We also have dedicated support available for international students who may be speaking a different language, may be entering a new environment, as well as entering a new university. So we have a dedicated team at Griffith to look after those students, to make sure they're settling into the new Australian environment, as well as into their program of study.
Thanks, Andrew. On the topic of student diversity across our cohort here at Griffith, over half of the students who are coming into study at Griffith are actually defined as mature age students as well, meaning that they haven't come directly from a school leaver pathway into their individual course of studies. Sometimes taking a little bit of a different path before coming into engineering, particularly beforehand. Rosalind, can you have a little bit of a chat about how Griffith helps these students progress into their studies effectively and also provides additional support over the course of the degree?
I love the diversity of students that Griffith has. The fact that the cohort of students is so diverse really matters to me. I'm a first and family student myself and have gone all the way to leading the entire school. So in terms of what we do to help students transition, first of all, we have an aptitude for engineering test. So if you've been out of school for a while, haven't been doing maths and physics, you can take this test and just get a sense if engineering is likely to be for you. There are bridging courses available to help people transition, to build up some of the foundations they might need in maths and physics to come in. And there's many of the other comments earlier about peer-assisted learning and mentoring. They apply to the entire student cohort, no matter whether they're high school leavers or mature age.
That's great to hear, Rosalind. There are a number of different pathways for students to come in and commence their studies at Griffith. Speaking of pathways, Andrew, I understand that as of 2023, we'll be offering some new diplomas for domestic students to help transition into studies. Who are they for, and can you tell us a little bit about those diplomas?
Yeah, that's right, Joe. Starting from next year, as well as our Bachelor of Engineering programs, we're also offering a Diploma of Engineering as a pathway into the full bachelor degree. As I mentioned before, we take a lot of students from diverse backgrounds, some of whom may not have had the same educational opportunities as others and may not have reached the ATAR required to enter into the full Bachelor of Engineering program. So those students that have just missed out by a few ATAR points on getting into the Bachelor of Engineering will be offered a place in our diploma programs. These programs will allow the students to seamlessly transition into second year engineering if they complete successfully. But we'll also offer extra support. So these students will be specially tracked. They'll have a dedicated advisor to assist them to make sure that they have every opportunity to succeed at university. And as I said, If they complete the one-year diploma program successfully, they can transition with no extra time required into the second year of the engineering program and continue their studies there. They can also choose to take the diploma and graduate with that diploma.
Fantastic. Now, I wanted to also talk about the student experience as well and some of the things that are available to our high achievers. Now, Joseph, I understand that you're part of the Griffith Honours College. Can you tell us about the Honours College and some of the additional opportunities that might have been made available to you from that?
Thanks, Joe. The Griffith Honours College has been a great experience. Some of the main things that it offers to its students is it pairs you up with a senior lecturer of the university as a mentor. And this experience allows you to learn more about how to achieve in your field. And the Honours College also offers several leadership summits, which teaches you more about how to work as a team and work as a leader, which makes you overall more successful in the field.
Now, Lillian, Andrew was talking before about our work integrated learning program and some of the placements that are available for students. Can you tell us about your experiences with placement and how that might help your career development in the future?
So during my industry affiliated program, which is IAP, the final year placement, I went to the CSIRO Ecosciences Precinct in Dutton Park in Brisbane. When I got the email from the Work Integrated Learning Office that my application to work at CSIRO for my placement was successful, I was very ecstatic because this was my opportunity to work with scientists in a way outside of engineering, which is what I wanted.
And Joseph, have your experiences as a student, have they met your expectations before you came to study at Griffith? And is there anything that you wish that you might have done to prepare a little bit better before making that transition?
I didn't think university was exactly what I expected. I didn't actually expect to enjoy it as much as I did in high school. I didn't really enjoy classes as much and wasn't really looking forward as much to continue studying. But as I started to come to Griffith and actually start exploring different areas of engineering, starting to design stuff and actually getting that hands-on experience, it's been extremely enjoyable, and I wish I knew more about engineering itself while I was in high school.
Now, a question for our panel at large, and I think I'll ask this question to all of our panelists today. For a student who's considering studying engineering, do you have any top tips, or is there a number one tip for any students who might be thinking about starting to study engineering at Griffith? We'll start with you, Rosalind.
If you're looking to study engineering at Griffith, make sure you stay on track with doing as much maths and physics at school as you can, but don't give up the idea of being an engineer if you haven't gone all the way through high school with maths and physics. We can find pathways for you. And
Andrew, any top tips for commencing students?
Absolutely, I agree with what Rosalind said. Don't ignore the math and the physics side of things, but if you are struggling, we can get you up to speed. But by the other token, don't ignore the other part of engineering, and that's the professional element. Have network with the industry. Get out there and go to events. Go to Engineers Australia functions. Join the engineering clubs. Do things outside of your study. That will make you a better engineer and a better student and more likely to be successful in your career.
I think my top tip for starting engineering is getting that hands-on experience as quickly as possible. I think that's what makes engineering really enjoyable, and learning more about that hands-on engineering experience is going to make the study and professional environment a lot more enjoyable.
One of my tips for starting university is getting to know your cohort who are taking your classes with you in engineering, particularly people who are different from you, such as mature students or maybe international students who have a different perspective. You can use that as a source of motivation or inspiration, and as well, you can form a good study relationship.
Now, here at Griffith, we also pride ourselves on providing very flexible study options for students, particularly around the trimester academic calendar system, which gives a little bit more flexibility for students to plan their studies around their life rather than having to plan their life around their studies. Andrew, can you talk a little bit to us about some of the flexible study options that are available for students when studying engineering?
We do have 3 trimesters, and these are full trimesters here at Griffith, not a sort of a half trimester over summer, which allows the students coming in particular to be more flexible in how they start their degree. So for example, students can start in either trimester 1 or trimester 2, and by using trimester 3, they can catch up and be on track for second year. That continues throughout the program. They have the option of taking fewer than 8 courses per year, taking a little bit more time to do their degree, taking some courses that are offered over the trimester 3. For example, we have 2 study abroad courses where students get the opportunity to go overseas for one course in trimester 3. Students can also undertake the industry placement in trimester 3, allowing them more flexibility throughout trimesters 1 and 2. Most of our students aim to complete in 4 years. Some will take 5, 6, or even 7 or 8 years, depending on their personal situation, whether they need to work full time while studying and so on. So yes, the options here are quite flexible in terms of how people can undertake their program. This flexibility is a little bit diminished for international students who need to maintain visa requirements by undertaking a full-time study load in most cases. But where possible, we will make the degree as flexible as we can.
I'd like to thank our panelists today for joining our engineering webinar and talking about their experiences as both staff and students in their time at Griffith University. For more information, please head along to our website for a detailed breakdown of all of the things that you could want to know about our engineering programs. And if you wanted to reach out and chat to us, we are available at any time via phone or email. If you're wanting a personalised conversation about your own career development and pathways, please make sure that you have a look and book in one of our Q&A sessions, where one of our expert study advisors will be able to talk to you about your situation and about what you're wanting to do with your engineering degree. Again, thank you to our panelists for joining us today, and we hope that you choose to study at Griffith University.